I'm not a plant guy. I'm a big fish, big tank full of fish that destroy plants kind of guy. That's always been my main thing. For those of you who follow the channel, you know. But when I relocated here to Tennessee from California, I decided that I wanted to add some diversity to what I was keeping, and I thought I'd try keeping a planted tank. Though in the past I had made mistakes and simply not been able to keep plants alive for a variety of reasons. But this planted tank is working, and I'm going to share with you the reasons why. The reasons why I think I've turned the corner and become good at keeping a planted tank. There are several key things, and I think the last one is going to be the most important. But the first point I'll share with you is trying different plants. And it took attempting several kinds of plants until I found the plants that worked with my water. Now, just like the stuff, the water that comes out of your tap is probably going to be more conducive to keeping certain kinds of fish. Like maybe you have high pH, maybe you have low pH, right? Soft water, hard water. So very often, rather than using pH up or pH down products or buffering products, people will just try and keep the fish that best match the kind of water that comes out of their tap. The same can be said to some degree with plants. It seems like certain plants thrive in my water and other plants, they just melt. So trying and rotating through different kinds of plants until I found some that were actually hardy and would thrive in my kind of water. That was an important part of it. Now, that being said, you have to get your plants from a provider that provides hardy plants, not plants that are just going to die and melt immediately and not come back. Sometimes there's an initial melt back. The leaves get thin and transparent and fall off. Sometimes that happens as the plant becomes acclimated to your aquarium, and then it bounces back. You'll see that sometimes with crypts, but if you get good hardy plants, they're going to have a much higher chance, of course, of surviving in your tank. So find yourself a real good plant provider. Also, as much as we want to go with just the natural nutrients provided by the fish waste, by the food, and things like that, I do highly recommend that you use some type of a plant nutrient. There are lots of different brands out there. I just happen to have an ongoing relationship with Aquarium Co-op, so I use their easy root tabs. I put these in right around the plants, especially when they're brand new. Every few months, maybe I don't know, 3 months or so, I'll put a new batch of root tabs, just kind of peppered around the aquarium underneath the substrate. And with each water change, I use a little bit of this all-in-one Easy Green. But of course, there are lots of products out there, Flourish, and a lot of them out there that you can use. In my case, that's what I'm using, and it seems to have helped. So give the plants a better fighting chance at making it by giving them a little bit of a boost in nutrients. Also, I'm using full spectrum lighting, and that's helping, I believe. And I don't run it. This is much brighter than I normally run it at. This is just for the sake of the video. Normally I run it at level 10. Normally I run it at what is called level 10, which is the lowest level. About like that. That's normally how I run it, but you can see for the video, everything would be invisible. So I run it a little bit brighter for the video. But these Anubias, they don't really need a lot of light. The hornwort is close enough to the top where it gets plenty light. Everything else seems to do okay, even though I don't use a lot of light. This is a good quality full spectrum light. One of those Aquarium Co-op lights. I'm not even sure if they make them anymore, but it also is providing a lot of benefit, I believe, just having that full spectrum, like sunlight. Now, in the very beginning, you're probably going to fight algae, and in some cases, black beard algae. Very stubborn, very frustrating. The only advice, probably the best advice I can give you based on experience, is just keep adding plants, keep cleaning it up, scraping it off, cutting back the leaves that are very black. Just keep adding plants until the nutrients that the algae would need are just not available because the plants are absorbing the nutrients. And so the plants outrun the algae, the black algae, in the absorption of nutrients. And so that takes me probably to the most important point of all, and that is to be patient. Keep adding different kinds of plants, and add more plants until you'll notice that the black algae, it just goes away. It just stops. It loses the battle for nutrients, and you've turned the corner, and black algae even green algae is no longer a problem. Even though in this case, green algae is being handled by some autos and plecos that keep having babies. I'm gonna have to thin out the plecos in this tank. They keep the algae in check. Also, because I have a planted tank, doesn't mean I don't do water changes. I would say once every maybe 2-3 weeks, I'll go ahead and do a 20% water change in this tank, just to add fresh minerals, just to freshen it up. And I think that also helps the plants to get the fresh minerals that come from the tap. So there you go. That's how I became a planted tank guy. I'm definitely not like some of the ones you see on YouTube that make these beautiful plantscapes, but this is a healthy, functioning planted tank. I never vacuum. I never vacuum this tank. All of that gets absorbed into the substrate as nutrients for the plants, but I do water changes. I'm enjoying this tank a lot. If I want a little bit of action and excitement, I'll go sit in front of one of my big cichlid tanks and get some action and excitement. If I want to just be calm and enjoy entirely and just relax, I'll sit in front of this tank along with my discus tank, and that puts me in my chill mode. All right, so there you go. Those are my tips for getting a planted tank successfully going, and why this particular planted tank works. If you'd like to know more about my sort of planted tank experience, there's a playlist I'll share up here. I also have one about how I got my discus tank going, and a couple other playlists, along with the opportunity to subscribe, will be right over here covering up my face. So there you go. You are appreciated. Thank you, my friends. Bye-bye.